Chapter 71 Soul Sect. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mansha Zhuhua. 7 Absolute Biphosphorus. Toxin, this route is stuck, it is not surprising that theory is trapped by difficulties. This is the vast majority of reality. Forget it, let's explore other routes first. There are many evolutionary routes for blue-silver grass. If one road is blocked, there are thousands more. Take out the blood sandalwood poison, circulate the blue-silver source, and start to adapt to this piece of blue-silver grass. The quantity and quality of blood sandalwood toxin will affect the adaptability of blue-silver grass. Han Tao recorded these data on paper one by one. 4 months later, the soul power level has broken through to level 40. This cultivation speed is incredible, 1 level per month. This is the charm of the great Zhoutian meditation method. The physical strength has reached 124 points. If the spiritual impact is not considered, absorbing the 10,000-year soul ring is not a problem. The soul power is 140 points, which is far beyond the average soul sect, and is not inferior to the soul king. Pity. The soul power slot provided by the acupoint does not increase with the level. Han Tao felt a little regretful. If the soul power tank cannot be improved, the role of the soul power tank will decrease proportionally as one's level breaks through. Gravity pressure can open up acupoints and increase the upper limit of the soul power tank. But I don't have that time now. Cultivation is focused, soul power level, martial soul evolution, distraction control, and physical training. These 4 items occupy most of Han Tao's time. As for opening acupoints, it may be useful, but it is not important and can only be left out later. It's time to get the soul ring. Han Tao summarized his receipts, recorded them in his diary, and then went to the Lord's mansion of the Qibao glazed sect, knocked lightly on the door. Please come in. Han Tao opened the door and saw Ning Fengji sitting on a chair, holding in his hand the everlasting emotions and anger invisible in color. Master, I need to hunt for a soul ring. This operation will be dangerous because it requires going to Sunset Forest. Ning Fengji nodded, and then waved to call manager Ning over. Go find Sword Douluo. Sword Douluo is more aggressive than Bone Douluo, so he is usually the one who goes out. Bone Douluo is more suitable for defense, and it would be better to stay with the sect. The last trip to Sunset Forest was an exception. After waiting for a while, Sword Douluo walked in from the door. I heard you have something to tell me. He looked at Ning Fengji with a hint of curiosity. Help my apprentice hunt for a soul ring, which may require entering the poison barrier in the Sunset Forest. Sword Douluo's eyes swept over Han Tao's cheek. Level 40, Soul Sect. Sword Douluo was surprised. In his impression, Han Tao's cultivation talent was not very good. Why did he upgrade so quickly? But he didn't hesitate, instead nodded and agreed to come down. Okay, let's go now. Then, he walked towards the door. Sword Douluo's attitude towards Han Tao changed significantly. The most fundamental reason is that Han Tao's level has improved. This world is so realistic. Han Tao, who is level 24, is nothing. No one will take you seriously, but if you are level 40, considering that you are a genius, I will give you a certain amount of respect. Sunset Forest, Edgeland, 2 guests were welcomed. Han Tao, what soul ring do you want? Chen Xian asked as he walked. Use your soul power to disperse the surrounding poison barriers and open up a narrow path. Han Tao directly stated his goal without thinking. Jade phosphorus flower. About 7,000 to 9,000 years ago. The jade phosphorus flower lasts for more than 10,000 years and will transform into a 3-color jade phosphorus flower. After more than 100,000 years, the 7 unique jade phosphorus flowers will become immortal grass. 9,000 years, can you bear it? My suggestion is to cap it at 5,000 years. This is your limit. Chen Xian's expression was very arrogant. He took out the soul guide and fumbled around in it. After groping for a long time, he took out a book with exquisitely carved patterns on it, the 10 core competencies of Wuhuan. Don't think of me as that old bone, I have read a book. Han Tao also saw the book in his hand, his face dull. If. Is there something wrong in this book? After hearing this, Sword Douluo looked puzzled. Open the book, look left, and then look. It shouldn't be. How could it be wrong when the packaging is so beautiful? He did not question Han Tao's words because he knew his theoretical level. The Qibao glazed Sect's theoretical assessment has already shown its advantages. Han Tao is a theoretical talent who has scored 61 points, but he, Chen Xian, and Gu Rong, insisted on competing theoretically, so they privately approached the elder guarding the palace. The unsightly scores dealt a lot of blows to the two-titled Douluo. So he knows what he is made of, so he didn't question Han Tao's words, he tried to change the subject, pointed at the 7 Ju flowers in front of him, and said, "What do you think of the flower in front of me?" Han Tao nodded. "Well, it's beautiful." "Then what? Is it suitable to be your soul ring?" Han Tao was stunned, he looked at Chen Xian in disbelief. "This is the 7 absolutes of Bailan flower, not a plant soul beast, it is a plant, that the 7 absolutes of Bailan flower is a fairy grass, and the 7 absolutes of Bailan flower is nothing, just an ordinary plant with certain toxins. You are a titled Douluo, and you can't even recognize a soul beast. You can't blame me. When I went out to hunt soul rings before, the sect master chose them. The sect master understands the theory, I don't, and with my strength, there is no need to learn." While speaking, he also showed his 7 killing sword. Sharpness and killing coexist, and the sword guard accessories are very beautiful. Han Tao shook his head. The two titled Douluos in the sect really don't have good brains. After searching for a long time, Han Tao finally found the target. This, the 8,000-year-old Bailan flower, can be used as a soul ring. Don't worry. Han Tao suddenly stopped. He suddenly remembered a plot in the original book. Tang San absorbed the 3 soul rings of the Qianjun Ant brothers at the same time, and upgraded the 3 90,000-year soul rings to become red 100,000-year soul rings. As we all know, the 1,000-year soul ring does not have spiritual shock, so, can we copy this method? 3 9,000-year soul rings were absorbed at the same time and merged into a 10,000-year soul ring. Not only did he not have to bear the mental shock, but he also got a black soul ring. Another trick. With the idea, Han Tao did not practice it directly. Instead, he needed to compare the data. Han Tao took out his diary and began to record the strength of the 8,000-year-old green phosphorus flower, soul strength, toxin strength, soul frequency. Then, he looked for a 10,000-year-old 3-color green phosphorus flower and explored its strength, compared with the strength of 8,000 years. Explore the ratio. The strength of an 8,000-year-old green phosphorus flower is equal to that of 2 4,000-year-old green phosphorus flowers. This is easy to understand, and is a geometric addition accumulation. A 15,000-year-old 3-color green phosphorus flower is equivalent to 5 8,000-year-old green phosphorus flowers. A 12,000-year-old 3-color green phosphorus flower is equivalent to 3 8,000-year-old green phosphorus flowers. After a soul beast breaks through 10,000 years, its strength will undergo a transition. Han Tao tried to explore this transition difference. There are 2 guesses. The quality of soul power of a 10,000-year-old soul beast is higher than that of a 1,000-year-old soul beast, which leads to a change in the difference between the two. So, is the quality of soul power of the part that exceeds 10,000 years high, and the soul power below 10,000 years remains unchanged? Or are all of them of high-quality soul power? Suspicion followed. Han Tao tried to obtain more data samples so that he could draw conclusions. Chapter 72 10,000-Year Spirit Ring. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Han Tao did not absorb the soul ring. Instead, he kept collecting samples, comparing data, and summarizing the conclusion. As the number of samples increased, the answer was revealed. When a soul beast breaks through from 1,000 years to 10,000 years, it will consume some energy, resulting in a weakening of strength, but at the same time, the soul power of the soul beast is tempered. The quality of the soul power becomes higher, resulting in an increase in strength. The process of quality tempering is not achieved overnight. From 10,000 to 16,000 years, the soul beast is tempering to improve the quality of soul power and spirit. The total amount has not changed, but as the quality improves, the strength is also rising. From 16,000 to 99,999, it is a return to the change in quantity, re-increasing the total amount of soul power and spirit. Are the tempering years the same for different soul beasts? This question troubled Han Tao's heart. The tempering year of the green phosphorus flower is 6,000 years. Will this year be affected by other factors? Han Tao does not intend to study it in depth. How soul beasts evolve has nothing to do with him. The reason for studying these is not because of the need to absorb soul rings. Have you chosen a target? Chen Xian's faint voice came. This trip to the Sunset Forest has lasted for 3 days. The two have already found hundreds of green phosphorus flowers and 3-color green phosphorus, but Han Tao still has not made up his mind. Yeah. One is 6,600 years old, and the other is 9,400 years old. Han Tao nodded and stated his goal. The 2 green phosphorus flowers grow in different places. If you want to absorb soul rings at the same time, you need to transplant them together. Please trouble you. Han Tao said. 2. Chen Xian's face was shocked. You want to absorb 2 soul rings? Han Tao nodded and did not answer. Seeing that Han Tao did not explain, Chen Xian could only smile calmly and pretend to be a master. 7 Killing sword. Han Lai's sharp sword aura suppressed the 6,600-year-old green phosphorus flower. The sharp blade slashed, and the petals of the green phosphorus flower scattered all over the ground. It was dying, no longer able to resist. Then, Han Tao took out a shovel, used soul power to wrap the soil, and shoveled up the 6,600-year-old green phosphorus flower. He took out a bottle of nutrient solution and dripped it on the green phosphorus flower. He prepared to transplant it next to the 9,400-year-old green phosphorus flower. Han Tao stood aside and did not move. Chen Xian glanced at him, not knowing why. After waiting for a while, he found that Douluo did not move, so Han Tao had to say. Can you hurt this one too? The 9,400-year-old green phosphorus flower was still intact, and Han Tao did not intend to do it himself. This thing is not a blue-silver grass, a plant that will not resist at all. After being hurt, it will spray poison to hurt the enemy. The toxin is nothing to Chen Xian, but he can't stand it. Really cowardly. Chen Xian couldn't deny it. This evaluation of Han Tao was relatively objective. He drew his sword again and severely injured the green phosphorus flower. Seeing that the 2 green phosphorus flowers were seriously injured, Han Tao took out his recurve bow. He took out a steel arrow, bent his arm to draw the bow, and shot with the string. Accuracy is the only expression at this moment. The 8 meridians brought an improvement to the 5 senses of the body, which indirectly increased Han Tao's control over the body. The strong perception and control determined the shooting curve of the bow and arrow, allowing Han Tao to hit the target easily. After 2 arrows, 2 purple soul rings floated up from the green phosphorus flower. Synchronous absorption. Han Tao approached the 9,400-year-old green phosphorus flower, summoned his martial soul, and began to actively receive the 2 soul rings. There is a qualitative difference between the 1,000-year soul ring and the 10,000-year soul ring. And the 10,000-year soul ring and the 12,000-year soul ring only have a quantitative difference, not a qualitative difference. The green phosphorus flower will accumulate 6,000 years of soul power in advance before advancing to the 10,000-year soul beast, tempering soul power for 6,000 years, consuming soul power for 6,000 years, and the growth base of 0.6. Is there a hidden relationship here? Han Tao did not explore it in depth because it was not important. Han Tao had deduced several possible situations. Point 1. Failure to actively receive the dual soul rings. Han Tao successfully absorbed the 9,400-year-old green phosphorus flower. The ending was neither good nor bad, and it was acceptable. 2. Successfully received the dual soul rings, and did not trigger the soul shock. This is a good ending, as it not only obtained the 10,000-year soul ring, but also did not suffer any losses. 3. Successfully received the dual soul rings, triggering the soul shock. In this case, 2 branches will also be derived. The soul ring selected by Han Tao has just reached 10,000 years after calculation. 9,400 plus 6,600-6,000 equals 10,000. The soul beast that has just reached 10,000 years has not yet been tempered in spirit power, and may not be able to trigger the soul shock. Even if there is a small probability that it can trigger the soul shock, the intensity will not be too high. Han Tao has the bonus of soul bones, and he is likely to be able to withstand it, and even if, under a small probability, a small probability will occur again. Han Tao can also actively abandon the traction of the second soul ring, return to 1,000 years, and bring everything back to his control. Han Tao wants a 10,000-year soul ring. The soul skills of a 10,000-year soul ring are qualitatively different from those of a 1,000-year soul ring. Perhaps if the soul ring is upgraded to 10,000 years, using the blue-silver poison barrier recorded in the book, he can reach the ice and fire Yin-Yang eyes. The most valuable thing about the ice and fire Yin-Yang eyes is not the fairy grass, but the natural environment there. It makes plants evolve at a speed of thousands of times, which is a super powerful plug-in for the cultivation of blue-silver grass. Therefore, Han Tao must have a 10,000-year soul ring. He tried his best and prepared a foolproof plan. This behavior would not cause any problem for any normal person. However, Han Tao is an exception. Luck will not let a person go easily. Han Tao is now a character targeted by luck. The murderous intent of luck is like a crisscrossing fishing net, which is surrounded unconsciously. Neurotoxin. That the green phosphorus flower, the green phosphorus toxin, is a neurotoxin. This is the first sharp knife of luck. Neurotoxin can paralyze the soul master's brain for a short time. It seems to be useless and meaningless in normal terms, but at this moment, he played a vital role. In a trance, Han Tao lost the opportunity to give up the second soul ring. The two soul rings merged and completely transformed into a black 10,000-year soul ring. The attack of luck never starts from a single dimension. The nutrient solution is the second sharp knife of luck. The spirit power of a 10,000-year soul beast has not yet transformed. As Han Tao expected, the soul beast that had just reached 10,000 years did not have the ability of soul shock, but that bottle of nutrient solution increased the age of the 6,600-year-old green phosphorus flower by 1 year. It only increased the age by 1 year. And no one would care about this single-digit age change. However, a slight difference can lead to a huge loss. Soul shock officially showed its power. After a trance, Han Tao woke up instantly. Neurotoxins are too small for Han Tao's level of physique. The improvement of nutrient solution to plants is also very small, but combined with each other, at the right time, it is a must-kill situation. In an instant, Han Tao had an idea. When you are being targeted by luck, don't do anything risky. No. He refuted his own thoughts. Even if I don't absorb the double soul rings, luck will still launch a fatal attack in other ways. In a field I have never understood that even in the face of a crisis that is enough to kill him, but it seems that Han Tao is not nervous. Chapter 73 Applications of Cluster Convergence. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Soul and spirit are one. Soul shock is also a spiritual shock. When Han Tao felt the shock force as vast as the sea water coming from the 10,000-year soul ring, he knew that he could not bear such a shock. At this moment, it was too late to think. 7 Killings True Body. Sword Douluo summoned his martial soul true body, and the soul power momentum bloomed without reservation. The terrifying soul power pressure dispelled the soul shock of the 10,000-year soul ring. However, this terrifying soul power is not only used for the soul. Han Tao suddenly spit out a mouthful of blood. Even though his physique has surpassed the Soul King, Han Tao can't bear it for too long under the soul pressure of the title Douluo. Physical damage is not important. Anyway, there is Yilingling, who can treat it, but the damage to the mind and soul cannot be repaired. Yilingling has not yet developed a healing method to repair the spirit. Your body can't bear it for too long. You have to find a way yourself. Douluo's voice came from one side, cold and without any emotion. Perhaps in his eyes, Han Tao is doomed to die. Time. Douluo's rescue is crucial. He gave Han Tao an extremely important thing, time. Delaying death is undoubtedly an opportunity to gain life. It seems. I can only use this trump card. Before thinking about winning, think about losing first. Han Tao has a plan for all failures. This is a long-forgotten book, a not-so-perfect secret method. Distraction control method. Concentration and convergence. Take back the oppressive aura. Han Tao said to Douluo. Douluo was quite surprised. He thought Han Tao would struggle for a while, but he didn't expect him to give up so quickly. But he didn't comment too much, followed the instructions, and took back his soul power aura. Soul shock once again appeared in Han Tao's mind. Distraction control method was originally just a split of thinking. The advanced level of concentration and convergence is the splitting of the spirit and the soul. Any soul master who tries this secret method will not have a good ending, but at this moment, Han Tao has no choice. Use the power of soul vibration to split your own spirit. Distraction control method. Concentration and convergence once said that if you want to achieve mental splitting, you need to use external forces. There is no simple external force involving the influence of the soul. Soul vibration seems terrifying and dangerous, but it is the most peaceful type of all cases. The strong vibration, like the waves in the ocean caused by the wind, gradually spreads in Han Tao's mind. Han Tao calls on his own mental power to wrap up his consciousness and protect the main consciousness from vibration damage, then follow the power of soul vibration and divide the mental power into 3 parts. One part is integrated into his third soul ring, one part is integrated into his right leg bone of blue silver emperor, another part is integrated into his martial soul origin soul ring, and origin soul bone. Use soul rings to control soul power, soul bones to dominate the body, and martial soul to control the mind. This seems to be a good way. After schizophrenia, Han Tao had a new understanding, but soon, he refuted his own thinking. This is wrong, it's a fallacy. Consciousness should control everything, and must control everything. Consciousness is the source of all power, this is what my brain tells me. Distraction control method. Concentration and convergence. In this imperfect secret method, the split mind part has never been difficult. The real difficulty is the concentration and convergence of the split mind. Split mind, it's very simple. Many soul masters have reached this step, but no one can complete the second part of the secret method. Convergence and concentration are the most important, but at this time, the soul shock from the 10,000-year green phosphorus flower soul ring has not ended. Han Tao had to hide his spirit in the martial soul and soul ring soul bone, and observe the changes in the body from a third-party perspective. For a quarter of an hour, Han Tao was stagnant in place. Douluo shook his head and sighed slightly. There was a kind of sadness in his eyes, as if he was reminiscing about his old friend. For 2/4 of an hour, Han Tao still stood still. Douluo hesitated on the spot, ready to leave. After walking a little half a step, he seemed to think of something, turned around, grabbed Han Tao's body, and took him back to the 7 treasures glazed sect. Rare, you have grown some brains. This is Han Tao's evaluation of Chen Xin. The power of soul shock gradually weakened over time. Han Tao's spirit has been split, and these split spirits can't withstand the power of soul shock. After returning to the sect, Douluo took Han Tao to the sect master's mansion. Ning Fengji met Han Tao, understood his situation, and made an evaluation. He has practiced the advanced distraction control method. He won't die in a short time. Manager Ning, go and invite Yi Lingling over. Han Tao's body was severely injured under the pressure of the soul power of the title Douluo, and these injuries need treatment. Soon, Yi Lingling arrived at the master's mansion. Seeing Han Tao's condition, she looked a little panicked. She quickly began to release her healing soul skills. Treatment, cure, life. The 3 soul rings lit up at the same time, and the healing effect was intertwined on Han Tao's body, healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. 2 hours later, Han Tao was still lying in the same place. At this time, the soul shock had ended, and the injuries to the body had recovered. Han Tao's main consciousness was integrated into the blue-silver grass martial soul. After completing the advanced level of the distraction control method, the split mental power can be integrated into the martial soul. This is the content introduced in concentration convergence. The integration of mental power into the martial soul is the part introduced in the book, but perhaps it was targeted by luck, or it should have been so. After Han Tao used the distraction control method to advance, his mental body was divided into 3 parts, and the mental shock continued, and it was very dangerous to place the consciousness in the mind. Han Tao could only integrate these mental bodies into the martial soul, soul ring, and soul bone respectively. Martial soul. The integration of the spirit into the martial soul showed Han Tao another perspective, in a more microscopic perspective, a perspective closer to the martial soul. The charm of the blue-silver grass is displayed. Plant characteristics. Plant structure, distribution, leaves, stems, thorns, microscopic composition. So that's it. Shocked by the discovery in front of him, Don't rush to summarize, let the spirit return first. Han Tao returned the spirit power of the martial soul to his mind, regained the control of the body. Exploration 1. The split spirit, stored in the martial soul, will gradually weaken over time. With the fusion of the spirit body and the martial soul, the speed of mental power weakening will gradually slow down until it stops. However, if the main consciousness body does not return to the body for a long time, the flesh will give birth to a new consciousness and compete with the original consciousness for control. After the split, the spirit body is weak and generally cannot compete with the body's own life consciousness. According to the death list in the book, the 2 pioneers died at this step. Exploration 2. The mental power will continue to fall, but the upper limit will not fall. After the main consciousness and mental power return to the brain, they will gradually recover over time. However, this part of the spirit is only 1/3 of the total. 2 parts are being consumed, 1 part is recovering, and the consumption is greater than the recovery. Some pioneers choose to take turns to place different parts of their mental power in their minds for recovery. However, the speed of recovery is lower than the speed of consumption, and they fall into an infinite vicious cycle, until death. 5 pioneers died at this step. Chapter 74 Countdown. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Exploration 3. Converge all your mental power into your mind. This was a relatively successful exploration. However, the converged spirits cannot be completely integrated, but there will be some cracks. These cracks will cause the loss of mental power. In the early stage, the speed of mental loss is lower than the speed of mental recovery, but as the practice progresses and time passes, the cracks become larger and larger, the mental loss becomes faster and faster, gradually surpassing the recovery speed, until all the mental power is exhausted. The soul master dies. According to the death list, all the remaining pioneers fell at this step. You can say that, when you practice the advanced distraction control method and complete the mental split, you have entered the countdown to death. If there is no new research result before the countdown ends, there is only one way to die. However, with such a high price, why are there so many soul masters rushing to conduct research? Han Tao gave the answer at this moment. What is recorded in the book is completely different from the feeling that Han Tao experienced. The spirit body carrying the main consciousness returns to the mind and begins to perceive the changes of the other 2 spirit bodies. The spirit body can be attached to the spirit ring, spirit bone, and martial spirit. However, the spirit ring and spirit bone of non-original attributes have a very fast loss of spirit power, and I can't hold on for long. When the spirit body is attached to the 3rd spirit ring blue silver eye, the speed of the spirit power loss is significantly reduced. So, Han Tao once again sensed the spirit body where the spirit bone was. The spirit body is attached to the 100,000-year spirit bone, and it seems to be nurtured in some way. The spirit power is not lost. This phenomenon inevitably makes Han Tao happy, because it means that he has obtained a gold medal of immunity from death. What is the reason? Han Tao used his spirit power to repeatedly screen the differences in the right leg bone of the 100,000-year blue-silver emperor. After a long time, he came to a guess. The structure of the 100,000-year spirit bone can carry the spirit body. The Titan giant ape, the sky blue bull python, and the soft bone charm rabbit all house their souls in the 100,000-year spirit ring, waiting for a certain moment to revive. Only after a soul ring or soul bone breaks through to 100,000 years, will it have the power to nourish the soul. Everything is explained. After exploring the origin soul bone part, Han Tao once again focused his attention on the blue-silver grass. The split soul body merged with the blue-silver grass, and truly sensed the microscopic internal structure and texture. This simple perception made Han Tao have an incredible discovery. The soul body merged with the martial soul, which was equivalent to providing a main control console for the blue-silver grass and mastering the mod authority of the martial soul, fusing the martial soul body, understanding the essence of the martial soul, and mastering the origin of the martial soul. It turns out that I have been missing a part. Fusing the martial soul body is the 3rd dimension of martial soul evolution, evolving martial soul, Ning Fengji has always been thinking about evolving martial soul. Ning Fengji's understanding of evolving martial soul has long been above Yi Junlan, who made him unable to break through the 7 treasures glazed tower. No way, he had to study the theory. So, what's the use of fusing the martial soul body? Mod authority means modification authority. Han Tao can delete, add, backup, and modify various characteristics on the blue-silver grass martial soul. After the blue-silver grass completes the adaptation of external forces, Han Tao can back up this change, the wrong route can be deleted, and the correct route can be retained. Tolerance. This is an improvement in tolerance. Passive adaptation always faces uncontrollable risks. In this way, Han Tao can adapt the wrong route of the 4-poison blue-silver grass, or the uncertain route of the blood sandalwood flower, to his martial soul, take the lead in improving the quality of his martial soul. Even if this route is wrong, it can be deleted. This is the meaning of mod authority. From passive to active. Huge benefits, unimaginable benefits. Han Tao finally understood why so many soul masters have been researching this field. In fact, compared with the risks, the benefits it can bring are really terrifying. If the martial soul is like this, then what about the soul ring? What about the soul bone? Han Tao detached his perspective from the martial soul. He began to study the fusion of spirit and soul ring. This structure. Integrate the spirit into the soul ring, perceive the soul ring structure microscopically, deeply, clearly, and at close range. It seems that it has not reached the limit. Han Tao found this conclusion, as if trying, he used his mental power to slightly adjust a part of the energy of the soul bone, the right leg bone of the blue-silver emperor. The age was reduced by 34 years, the soul ring of the blue-silver grass, the age increased by 55 years, breaking through 1,100 years, the ratio is 5 to 8, corresponding to the growth base of the blue-silver grass and the blue-silver emperor. Oh, the ability to increase the age of the soul ring. It is necessary to call on energy from other places, and it must be of the same source. At this moment, Han Tao finally understood why those pioneers died. Who wouldn't be tempted by this? Modify the martial soul and increase the age of the soul ring. This is the authority of God, and the advancement of the analysis and control method can obtain the authority of God at the cost of consuming the spiritual body. One uses it without a sound, and then it will be broken in minutes. Han Tao tested it again. The soul ring that emerged from the corpse of the blue-silver grass can also increase the age of this soul ring. This is great, recycling. Now, because the blue-silver grass that died while testing the evolutionary route has a good place to go for the soul ring, Han Tao stopped what he was doing and began to think, what is the best solution? After some calculations, Han Tao made up his mind. He took out 5,500 years of soul power from the right leg bone of the blue-silver emperor and applied it to the blue-silver grass soul ring. Han Tao's third soul ring was increased from 1,100 years to 9,900 years. Due to the structure of the soul ring, it is impossible to break through the 10,000-year mark. Perhaps many people will wonder why other blue-silver grass soul rings are not used to increase the age of the third soul ring. This idea is not wrong, however. The blue-silver eye represents the ability to perceive. Acquiring stronger perception in advance will make it easier to discover new evolutionary routes for blue-silver grass. The right leg bone of the blue-silver emperor can also absorb the soul ring of the dead blue-silver grass. There will be a certain loss, which is inevitable and within Han Tao's acceptable range. In Han Tao's eyes, getting stronger perception in advance is greater than the energy loss of blue-silver grass turning into blue-silver emperor. At present, I have two core needs. One is the perception soul ring, blue-silver eye, which has been strengthened to the limit. The other is the green phosphorus flower soul ring, blue-silver poison barrier, which can allow me to reach the Yin-Yang eye of ice and fire. As long as I get there, the speed of my martial soul evolution will change qualitatively. The natural magnetic field is only one aspect of the increase in the speed of cultivation, which is too small, and Han Tao did not mention it. The most important thing is that it can accelerate the evolution of blue-silver grass. Let yourself get more evolution samples, so that your blue-silver grass can transform again. At the same time, you can also return this lovesickness heartbroken red fairy grass to Ning Rongrong. Then, Han Tao looked at this black soul ring. Because of the green phosphorus flower, Han Tao had to practice the advanced distraction control method and had to start the countdown to death. Spiritual power. Spiritual power will weaken little by little over time. Han Tao's mind sank slightly. Improving mental power is the fundamental way to delay death. There are currently 4 ways to improve mental power, which are not fundamental methods but only treat the symptoms. The first way is to cultivate the longing for autumn water dew after reaching the yin-yang eye of ice and fire. This is difficult, very difficult, and it is tantamount to fantasy to break through the sky. The second way is to break through the soul power level. After the soul power level is broken through, the upper limit of the mental power attribute will be increased, thereby leveling the loss of mental power. The third way is to integrate the wisdom skull of spiritual concentration. You need to participate in the National Elite Soul Master competition and win the championship, and there is a great risk in absorbing the head soul bone, and you have to accept the torture of luck. Han Tao used strategy to win the luck twice, but it does not mean that he can always win. The last way is Yilingling's treatment level breakthrough. If the 9-hearted begonia can heal the spirit, then Han Tao will naturally not have to worry about mental weakness. However, pinning your hopes on others is not as good as waiting for death. Chapter 75 Fusion of the Martial Soul Body. You are listening at novelfull.audio. For plans, carried out simultaneously, that this is Han Tao's strategy, and he cannot give up any method. Is there any way to deal with the root cause of mental weakness? That the above 4 solutions only treat the symptoms but not the root cause. Improve mental strength, resist mental exhaustion, and delay your own death. In essence, mental decline still exists, and Han Tao still cannot escape the fate of death. Han Tao wanted to cure the root cause, for a long time. It's already said in the book. Completely mastering martial arts and soul rings, you can completely restrain your mental power, and not even a trace will be leaked. Just like the name of this book, Distraction Control Method Gathering and Convergence. Although mental power cannot be restored, it will not be consumed. Thinking of this, Han Tao looked into the distance. After the mental power is separated from the physical body, it cannot be restored. This is a normal phenomenon, but what if there is a way to recover? It is almost impossible to restore the spiritual power in the soul ring and martial soul, but it can be done with the help of external force. Where does the external force come from? Yilingling, Jiuxin Begonia. Han Tao first adopted the second plan, breaking through the soul power level. When breaking through the soul power level, the growth oneself obtain is related to the growth base and the quality of the martial soul. Adapt the 4 poison blue silver grass and blood sandalwood flower to your own martial spirit. This was the first decision Han Tao made, because there was an evolutionary sample of blue silver grass. Everything went as it should, without any setbacks. Han Tao adapted very quickly this time and spent 2 weeks to complete the adaptation of both. Growth base, 0.6-0.7. Including lone bamboo, Han Tao's growth base reached 0.9, which is the growth base of the best fairy grass and the ultimate martial spirit, higher than the blue silver emperor and higher than the growth base of the clear sky hammer. After a breakthrough in the quality of his martial soul, Han Tao began to think of ways to improve his soul power level. For ordinary people, raising the level of soul power is a matter of hard work, and can only be achieved slowly through soul power cultivation, but Han Tao can use some tricks at this moment. Absorbing soul rings can increase soul power. This theory is the basic theory of soul masters and is widely spread in Douluo continent. There is another theory, which is unknown, but Han Tao happens to know it. The soul beast sacrifice allows the soul master to receive the 100,000-year soul ring in advance. For ordinary soul masters, knowing this is of little use, but it is very useful for Han Tao. Because of the former, Han Tao can speculate on another theory, infer B from A. The reason a soul master cannot absorb a 100,000-year soul ring is because he cannot withstand the physical pressure and soul shock when absorbing the soul ring, not because the soul master cannot assemble a 100,000-year soul ring. If a 100,000-year-old spirit ring is already above your martial spirit, then even a low-level spirit master can withstand the pressure of a spirit ring of this age. What does this mean? Jade phosphorus flower. The jade phosphorus flower, which is more than 1,000 years old, can bear the physical pressure it brings. The soul shock that fuses into a 10,000-year soul ring can be avoided through spiritual decomposition. Integrate your spiritual body into the blue-silver poison barrier soul ring, and absorb the soul ring of the same clan as the jade phosphorus flower from the outside, until it reaches 99,999 years. The poison barrier in Sunset Forest is very strong and terrifying. even if the blue-silver poison barrier can restrain the poison barrier of Sunset Forest, Han Tao has no confidence at all. It is absolutely impossible to cross the poison barrier formed by a 1,000-year soul ring, but there is a slight possibility for a 10,000-year soul ring. As for a soul ring approaching 100,000 years, the probability of success will increase significantly. A 100,000-year-old soul beast corresponds to a title Douluo among soul masters, and a soul ring close to 100,000 years old is equivalent to the level of an ultimate soul Douluo. The theory existed, and Han Tao began to practice it. The third soul skill, blue-silver eyes. Strengthen external perception, and then integrate the spiritual body into the fourth soul ring. Because the jade phosphorus flower soul ring is not Han Tao's original soul ring, the mental body is fused with the jade phosphorus flower soul ring, and the mental power consumption rate increases significantly. Growth often comes with a price. Han Tao has made up his mind, so, he went to the sect leader's mansion again, but before Han Tao could enter, Manager Ning reached out to stop him. Han Tao was a little confused. What happened? Manager Ning hesitated briefly, but still did not let him go, and told Han Tao. It's not convenient for the sect master to see people right now. Han Tao stood there awkwardly. This situation was something he had never expected. However, he still had to go to the Sunset Forest to strengthen the life of his soul ring. While strengthening the life of the soul ring, it will also increase the level of one's soul power, thereby increasing mental power and resisting death. There was no other way. Han Tao had no choice but to walk away. Han Tao. A voice came from the distance. Sword Douluo, Chen Xian. Are you going to Sunset Forest? Staring at Han Tao's face, he asked. Han Tao nodded. Let's go. Then, Sword Douluo once again led Han Tao to the poison barrier in the Sunset Forest. The secret method you practiced was also practiced by my brother Chen Yin. It's a pity that he failed. His spirit was exhausted and his soul was lost. Han Tao nodded again. In the gold-edged secret book, there was Chen Yin's name on the death list. The second step of distraction control method cluster convergence comes from his research. Putting the spirit bodies into the mind one by one and delaying the time of mental exhaustion is his research result. Unfortunately, he fell at this step and never enjoyed the scenery of the future. Jian Douluo was very tolerant of Han Tao at this moment. Perhaps in his eyes, Han Tao was already a dead man. None of the soul masters who studied this secret method escaped the fate of death. In his opinion, Han Tao was not an exception, but one of them. What was he arguing with a dead man? By phosphorus flower, 3,000 years old. Han Tao accurately said the information of the soul beast. The fourth soul skill, blue-silver poison barrier. The poison barrier emerged in front of Han Tao. He did not control the poison barrier to attack the soul beast, but recorded the effect of his soul skill. The soul ring with a life of 10,001 years, the strength of the soul skill displayed, including the range of the poison barrier, the concentration of the toxin, and the consumption of soul power. Record all the information in the notebook. Breaking through the inner circle of the poison barrier. Data support is indispensable. Try to condense the toxins spread by the blue-silver poison barrier and make the toxins gather into a ball. Cannot condense. The idea is beautiful, but the reality is always cruel. The toxin formed by the blue-silver poison barrier is gaseous. If you want to condense it into liquid or solid, there are usually two ways. Increase the pressure, or lower the temperature. There is a ready-made way to increase the pressure, and Han Tao is ready to start the experiment. He said to Jian Douluo. Jian Douluo, can you use your soul power to compress and condense the scattered poison barriers? Jian Douluo agreed, and the aura of the title Douluo was released. Under strong pressure, these poison barriers gradually gathered and turned into liquid. As the pressure increased, the toxin began to condense and turned into a solid. Han Tao took out his notebook and began to record. The soul power pressure of the strong can effectively condense the toxin. This is a verified theory, however, the value is not clear for the time being. Okay, please put away the soul power pressure. The aura gradually disappeared, and the condensed toxins began to spread slowly as if they had lost their restraints. Han Tao wrote down again in his notebook. Oppression can condense toxins. When the oppression disappears, the toxins will return to their original state. Chapter 76 Combat System. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Next topic. Does temperature affect the coagulation of toxins? Han Tao took out a cold stone and approached the toxin condensate. As expected, as the temperature dropped, the diffusion rate of the toxin condensate slowed down. However, the condensed green phosphorus toxin was extremely corrosive. The cold stone that Han Tao took out did not last long before it was corroded. Temperature can affect the coagulation of toxins. Han Tao wrote this theory in his diary. The theoretical value of the former is not high, and the theoretical value of this one is also not high, but when put together, the gold content instantly changed. Choose a material with cold properties that can resist green phosphorus toxins as the tip of the arrow. The condensed green phosphorus toxin is stored in the tip of the arrow. As the arrow is fired, the terrifying toxin explodes in front of the enemy, which can cause terrifying damage. If the spirit ring of the blue-silver poison barrier is upgraded to 99,999 years, the condensed green phosphorus toxin may be able to cause harm to Soul Douluo. But to cause this kind of killing, two theoretical limitations need to be broken. The first is the material problem. In Douluo continent, the more famous low-temperature materials, such as deep-sea silver mother and cold heart iron essence, perhaps, they may have the strength of arrows, but Han Tao has not verified it, so he can only describe it as perhaps these materials have some characteristics, that is, expensive. Rare. Very expensive, extremely rare, for the 7 treasures glazed tile sect, using such a high price to exchange for a Soul Douluo level attack is a negative benefit. Ning Fengji may not agree to Han Tao's request. The second is the problem of hitting. This is the second most critical issue. Soul Douluo has soul power defense, which can isolate the attack of arrows, and can also use soul skills to knock away Han Tao's arrows. And Soul Douluo is not a wooden stake, and will dodge when seeing the arrows flying over. So even if the attack and damage reach the corresponding standards, this theory cannot really have the killing power of Soul Douluo level due to the limited hit rate, but it is undeniable that in the world of Douluo continent, toxins have extremely terrifying strategic value. Han Tao gave up the idea of top-level arrows. Forget it, let's settle for the second best and make a second-level weapon first. The cold jade porcelain bottle can hold the green phosphorus toxin, the liquid green phosphorus toxin. Then, Han Tao turned the green phosphorus toxin from solid to liquid and put it in a porcelain bottle made of cold jade. Arrows made of cold jade can hold liquid green phosphorus toxins and will also have a certain threat. The jade arrowhead is wrapped with toxins. As the arrow hits, the jade is broken, and the green phosphorus toxin inside is released, forming an effective killing. It is a good attack idea, but the limitations are too obvious. The arrowhead made of jade does not have the ability to penetrate and cannot break the defense of high-level soul masters. Han Tao thought about it and made a judgment on the offensiveness of this type of weapon. It can kill the Soul King and pose a great threat to the Soul Emperor. Soul Saints are divided into those who have not activated their martial souls and those who have activated their martial souls. The former can pose a threat, but the latter cannot. Until this moment, Han Tao's combat system has taken shape. The third soul skill, Blue-Silver, strengthens the perception ability and assists the bow and arrow to hit. The fourth soul skill, Blue-Silver Poison Barrier, provides a source of green phosphorus toxins and strengthens the lethality of bows and arrows. Using bows and toxins, Han Tao can threaten the Soul Emperor, which is a leap between two major soul power stages. After forming a combat system, Han Tao immediately began to be eager to try. He drew his hand and drew the bow, and the arrows of condensed green phosphorus toxins accurately hit the green phosphorus flower not far away. The concentrated green phosphorus toxins exploded in the green phosphorus flower, but did not have any effect. This is normal. Han Tao's green phosphorus soul ring was taken from the green phosphorus flower. Trying to kill the green phosphorus flower with green phosphorus toxins is like trying to drown a fish with water. Do you need me to do it? Soul Douluo Xin saw Han Tao's strange behavior and couldn't help laughing. Han Tao shook his head. He took out another arrow and shot it with his bow. The green phosphorus flower was not a pushover. Its trunk swayed and it actually dodged Han Tao's attack. The branches and leaves waved, and 2 drops of concentrated green phosphorus venom fell with the movement, flying towards Han Tao at a very fast speed. The blue-silver I felt the 2 drops of green phosphorus poison flying. Han Tao tried to dodge. Even if he used up all his strength, he only dodged 1 drop of venom, and the remaining drop of venom brushed against Han Tao's arm. A strong spoiler appeared on his arm, and Han Tao quickly took out the antidote and poured it on it. Douluo sighed and shook his head helplessly. 5 Scum in battle. There is a deep gap between ideals and reality. If you can't cross it, it's a setback, and if you cross it, it's growth. Han Tao can sense the attack of the green phosphorus flower and calculate its attack path. Even so, Han Tao still didn't dodge. Ideally, Han Tao has the ability to kill soul emperors, but the reality is that even facing a 3,000-year-old green phosphorus flower, he may not be able to win. I have no combat experience. Obviously, this is the reason for failure. Combat experience and on-the-spot decision-making are of vital importance in the face of sudden attacks. Soul masters of the same level grow up little by little through the great soul fighting arena and hunting soul rings in the wild. What about Han Tao? Has he ever fought? No. He has never experienced a decent battle. Han Tao calmed down and admitted his weakness. Battle experience is not the current focus, breaking through the level is the key. At a low level, studying soul ring matching and complex soul skills is a behavior that puts the cart before the horse. Yu Xiaojiang and Feng Xiaotian are typical examples. The 2-headed swift wind demon wolf, a genius with full soul power, insisted on studying his own soul skills and neglected the cultivation of soul power level. Han Tao also did research, but Han Tao was different from him. What did Han Tao study? Meridian cultivation system, martial soul evolution method. These are closely related to breaking through the level. It can even be said that Han Tao did not consider combat power at all in the first 30 levels. Soul ring selection is always for personal growth. The 4th soul ring is because he wants to enter the Yin-Yang eye of ice and fire, and he must choose it if he wants to evolve his martial soul. While gaining personal growth, he also gains the corresponding killing ability at the same time. This is Han Tao's strategy. Douluo, please help me. Knowing his own path, Han Tao asked Douluo again. Douluo smiled helplessly, summoning the martial soul 7 killing sword. He slashed it with one sword. The petals of the green phosphorus flower were broken into pieces and on the verge of death. Seeing that the 3,000-year green phosphorus flower was seriously injured, Han Tao raised the bow and arrow in his hand again and harvested it at a fixed point. A purple soul ring emerged from the body of the green phosphorus flower. Han Tao merged his spiritual body with the 4th soul ring and began to absorb the energy of the green phosphorus flower. The energy of the external soul ring was drawn to the black soul ring by the split spiritual body. The oppression seems to be stronger. But it is far from reaching the limit. Han Tao could feel that the 10,000-year soul ring absorbed the energy of the green phosphorus flower and exerted a certain amount of oppression on his body. At the same time, the surging soul shock swept over. Han Tao hid the main consciousness in his mind into the right leg bone of the blue-silver emperor. After a long time, Han Tao opened his eyes and looked at the 4th soul ring. The color is a little darker, but from the appearance, it seems that there is no change. Chapter 77 Years of Service Increase. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. The spirit ring similar to plants cannot increase the upper limit of the blue-silver origin, but it can affect the martial soul. The blue-silver origin of the blue-silver grass can only be provided by the blue-silver grass and the spirit ring and soul bone above the blue-silver grass. The most typical example is the spirit ring provided by the green phosphorus flower, which is as old as 10,000 years, but did not provide Han Tao with any blue-silver origin, not even a trace. It's a pity. Han Tao felt a little regretful. Although the blue-silver origin is no longer the key to restricting the evolution of the martial soul, who would refuse if there were more martial soul origins? Next, Han Tao continued to use his spiritual body to fuse the spirit ring and absorb the energy of the green phosphorus flower from the outside world. The age of the 4th spirit ring was rising little by little, 13,000 years, 15,000 years, 21,000 years. 1 month. 2 months. In the 3rd month, Han Tao's progress came to an abrupt halt. The 3-color green phosphorus flower spirit ring was stuck at 49,999 years and could not break through the 50,000. Year mark, facing difficulties, there must be a reason, Han Tao began to think. Why can't it break through 50,000 years? Summoning his blue-silver grass martial soul, for soul rings appeared in yellow, white, purple, and black. Ignoring the first 3 soul rings, he focused all his attention on the 4th soul ring. The dark and deep 4th soul ring condensed the soul power fluctuations far beyond his level. The fusion of the spirit body and the soul ring allowed Han Tao to sense the microscopic and details inside the soul ring. It seems it's not because of the structure. Han Tao's 3rd soul ring is the blue-silver grass soul ring. It can't break through the 10,000-year mark because the soul ring structure does not allow it, and the 3-color green phosphorus flower soul ring can't surpass 50,000 years, not because of the soul ring structure, but because of some other reasons. He opened the book and began to look for information. If you can't start with the soul ring, you can start with the soul beast. The growth path of the green phosphorus flower is clearly visible. Green phosphorus flower, 3-color. Green phosphorus flower, 5-color green phosphorus flower, 7-color green phosphorus flower. They correspond to the 4 levels of 1,000-year soul beast, 10,000-year soul beast, 50,000-year soul beast, and 100,000-year soul beast. The 50,000-year green phosphorus flower is called the 5-color green phosphorus flower. When it grows from 3-color green phosphorus to 5-color green phosphorus, some kind of transformation will occur. Transformation, the transformation of soul power quality. No. The right leg bone of the 100,000-year blue-silver emperor can absorb the 100-year blue-silver grass soul ring to increase the age. If the blue-silver emperor can, why can't the green phosphorus flower? The blue-silver grass and the blue-silver emperor have the same origin, and the green phosphorus flower and the 5-color green phosphorus flower also have the same origin. It doesn't make sense that one can and the other can't, so Han Tao integrated his mental power into the right leg bone of the blue-silver emperor. Perception, observation, and analysis. How does the right leg bone of the blue-silver emperor transform low-quality soul power into high-quality soul power? Well, I don't understand. It's not that I don't understand it at all, but it's hard to understand. From the outside, the right leg bone of the blue-silver emperor is just a simple leg bone that emits strong soul power fluctuations. But from a microscopic point of view, this is a sophisticated and complex machine. It can absorb external soul power and restore soul bone energy. It can also absorb the blue-silver soul ring of the same clan to extend the soul bone life. Soul power absorption and soul power generation are 2 areas, and there are quantitative complex changes in between. This part of the complex change is difficult for Han Tao to understand at present. Assimilation. According to Han Tao's cognition, this word can only be used to describe it. It seems not that simple. The transformation of soul power quality is also a high-level power. It is normal that it is incomprehensible. Thinking of this, Han Tao paused this part of the research. The 49,999-year-old green phosphorus soul ring has far exceeded the absorption life of Han Tao's soul power level. Going up, there may be risks. When being targeted by luck, try to avoid risks. This is recorded in Han Tao's diary. Then, Han Tao began to use his 4th soul skill. Blue-silver poison barrier. The green and blue lights surrounded each other and intersected with the air to form a hemisphere, and the strong toxins were converged within the shape. Compared with the 10,000-year-old green phosphorus flower soul ring, this nearly 50,000-year-old 3-color green phosphorus flower soul ring has a stronger poison barrier. Han Tao began to record the changes in the intensity of the poison barrier. The mass of the toxin increased by 1.3 times, the concentration of the toxin increased by 1.4 times, the radius of the poison barrier sphere increased by 1.4 times, the soul power consumption increased by 5 times. After repeatedly comparing and recording the relevant data, Han Tao put away the diary. The intensity and consumption have increased by 5 times. The blue-silver poison barrier of nearly 50,000 years can allow me to enter the middle area of the sunset forest. The inner layer of toxins is too terrifying and cannot be approached at all. Perhaps only when it is close to 100,000 years can I take a peek. The poison barrier formed by Han Tao's soul skills can be immune to the green phosphorus toxins of a higher level. The poison barrier of the sunset forest is divided into the outer circle, the middle circle, and the inner circle. The outer circle corresponds to the 3-color green phosphorus, and the middle circle corresponds to the 5-color green phosphorus, which is half a level higher than Han Tao's blue-silver poison barrier. It is only half a level higher and does not pose a threat. The inner circle of the sunset forest, the core part strengthened by the snow swan kiss, can resist the poison of the tidal Douluo, 4th soul skill, blue-silver poison barrier. He unfolded the blue-silver poison barrier, and steadily moved forward towards the middle layer of the sunset forest, and began to explore the surrounding terrain. The inner circle of the poison barrier of the sunset forest is about 200 square kilometers. According to the straight line calculation, the distance is even less than 15 kilometers. After coming to the conclusion, Han Tao returned to the sect. He already had a corresponding countermeasure in his mind. 7 treasures glazed sect, the sect master's mansion. Han Tao knocked on the door of the sect master's mansion again. This time, manager Ning did not intercept him, but took him in. When he met his master, Han Tao expressed his needs. Master, do you have a map of the sunset forest? That with the financial resources of the 7 treasures glazed sect, there must be basic materials such as maps. Ning Fengji heard Han Tao's words, searched in the drawer for a long time, and took out an extremely incomplete map. This is too shabby. Han Tao was surprised. Ning Fengji coughed twice, then he straightened his face and said. This incomplete map has a route to the Yin-Yang Eye of Ice and Fire. This was the guidance given to Ning Rongrong before. He knew his daughter too well. If the map was too complicated, Rongrong probably wouldn't understand it. Thinking of this, Ning Fengji seemed to think it was not appropriate. He took out another complete map and handed it to Han Tao. 2 maps, you can compare them yourself. Han Tao took it. With the route guidance, the success rate of passing through the poison barrier would be greatly increased. After a general understanding, Han Tao walked out of the sect master's mansion. He returned to his dormitory and began to think about the strategy. Now, if you want to reach the Yin-Yang Eye of Ice and Fire, you just need to pass through the inner circle of the poison barrier. There are always more solutions than difficulties. There are 3 ways to pass through the inner circle of the poison barrier. The first method is to use the soul skill, flying, of the right leg bone of the blue-silver emperor to pass through the top of the poison barrier. The height of the poison barrier is uncertain, and it is uncertain whether the upper end of the Yin-Yang Eye of Ice and Fire is surrounded by the poison barrier. If it is wrapped by the poison barrier, this plan will be shelved. There are certain risks, but you can try. The second method is to use cold jade as a material to create armor that covers the whole body, which can also pass through the inner circle of the poison barrier. Cold jade is a material that can isolate the condensed green phosphorus poison, but the actual problem is more serious. Cold jade is not easy to deform, and the soul master cannot move inside. Moreover, there is a problem with the hardness of cold jade. Once it is broken, it is almost certain to die. The third method is to travel underground. This is the method that Han Tao is most optimistic about. Strong green phosphorus poison can penetrate into the ground, but the intensity will be weakened, and his own blue-silver poison barrier soul skill can exempt the weakened toxin damage. It's a bit embarrassing, but the risk is controllable. Traveling underground is easy to get lost. So Han Tao asked Ning Fengji for a map. Without this route, this plan cannot be implemented. Chapter 78 Yin-Yang Eyes of Ice and Fire. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Sunset Forest, middle layer. Han Tao first glanced at the direction of the sun, then opened the map given by Ning Fengji. With a swipe of his finger, he determined the correct route and began his first exploration. Fly. The soul skill of the blue-silver emperor's right leg bone was activated, and Han Tao flew into the sky under the effect of the soul bone skill, but soon, he discovered a more serious problem. The poison barrier of the green phosphorus toxin spread to the surroundings, and the toxins above the sky were more concentrated. He retreated 2 miles and escaped from the dense poison barrier circle. Activated the soul bone skill again. This time, Han Tao flew into the sky. The higher the altitude, the faster the soul power consumption. The consumption of soul bone skills is not constant. As the altitude increases, the speed of soul power consumption will increase, but fortunately, Han Tao now has acupoints as a backup soul power. so it is not so urgent. After flying to the clouds, the whole picture of the sunset forest is in full view. The sunset forest is surrounded by layers of poison barriers, without any gaps. It seems that the first plan has failed. There is no gap at the top of the poison barrier. This means that even if Han Tao finds the Yin-Yang eye of ice and fire, he can't get in there. So, Han Tao slowly shut down his soul bone skills and dropped himself from a high altitude. Use the third strategy. Digging from underground is the most reliable and safest strategy for Han Tao. The blue silver eye gave Han Tao a strong external perception. Even in the middle layer of the poison barrier of the sunset forest, Han Tao could feel the extremely strong heat and cold coming from afar. Eight-angled mysterious ice grass and fire apricot delicate sparse, Han Tao took out the fine iron pickaxe and began to dig down. One day later, Han Tao successfully arrived at the Yin-Yang eye of ice and fire. Break the soil and see the sun again. Han Tao saw the whole picture here. Ice and fire are born, and yin and yang are restrained. This is an unusually magnificent spring, as if it contains infinite rhythm. Words cannot describe the magnificence here. Han Tao, that a female voice came from the side. Ning Rongrong recognized Han Tao's appearance, and he made her look dirty. She couldn't help laughing. Her eyes were filled with deep joy, and she was excited about Han Tao's arrival. Oh, that the moment he saw her, Han Tao seemed to have thought of something, and quickly took off the rainbow from his waist. He opened the porcelain bottle, took out the lovesickness heartbroken red, and prepared to hand it to Ning Rongrong. This fairy grass, when it approached Ning Rongrong, bloomed with her original light, red, a gorgeous red color. Han Tao witnessed the changes of lovesickness heartbroken red with his own eyes. This is the well-deserved king of fairy grass, the peerless beauty among the divine products. Wait, Ning Rongrong suddenly interrupted Han Tao's action. Take the lovesickness heartbroken red away. She took 2 steps back, and said to Han Tao in an anxious tone. Han Tao was a little confused. Why? Love heartbroken red, can it regulate the conflicts of the immortal herbs in your body? Ning Rongrong looked back, then trotted and hid behind the 8-angled mysterious ice grass. Then, she looked at Han Tao and began to explain. You should have studied pharmacology. Han Tao nodded. Ning Rongrong fumbled around, took out the Encyclopedia of Immortal Herbs, and read it word by word. Soul masters will face 2 problems when taking multiple immortal herbs. One is the conflict between the medicinal properties. Love heartbroken red, as a divine product among immortal herbs, can regulate the medicinal properties of multiple immortal herbs. Another, the toxicity of multiple immortal herbs will accumulate. Immortal herbs are powerful medicines, and powerful medicines are highly toxic. I need to use the fragrant Douluo immortal product to suppress the toxicity in my body. Hearing this, Han Tao calmed down. Take out the diary and record this knowledge point. Love heartbroken red, mediated the conflicts of multiple immortal herbs. Fragrant Douluo immortal product, suppresses the toxicity of multiple immortal herbs. This is consistent with Yang Wudi's statement and the basic principles of pharmacology. But why did you give me the love heartbroken red? Obviously, she is the root of the conflict between the immortal herbs in your body. Ning Rongrong laughed, then, she said very proudly. Of course it's because I don't need her anymore. I am a genius. My master has praised me. My talent is unmatched. I don't need love heartbroken red to reconcile the conflict between the immortal herbs, nor do I need fragrant Douluo immortal product to suppress the drug poison. The pharmacology I have learned can make up for everything. Ning Rongrong patted her chest and said confidently. She was very confident and held her head high. Well, it's amazing. Han Tao scratched his head awkwardly. He admitted that he did underestimate Ning Rongrong. This was not an interpretation of talent, but a combination of talent and hard work. Achievements do not come by chance, but day after day accumulation. After hesitating for a moment, Han Tao still asked. But, since you don't have any conflicts with fairy herbs, why do you come to the Yin-Yang eyes of ice and fire? That is everything you do in vain. Is it meaningless for me to bring the acacia heartbroken red to find her? Soon, Ning Rongrong gave the answer. I used my pharmacology to solve the 2 dilemmas. I solved the conflicts with fairy herbs and the toxicity of fairy herbs one by one. A new problem has arisen. Ning Rongrong explained the causes and consequences to Han Tao very carefully. Among the fairy grasses, looking through the autumn water dew can enhance the spirit, the narcissus jade muscles and bones can open up the 8 extraordinary meridians, and the Chiluo tulip can strengthen the martial soul. However, no fairy grass can strengthen the body. Ning Rongrong's voice paused as he said this. Han Tao thought about it and suddenly understood. After all, she was not Tang San. She had not experienced the process of refining the golden body with ice and fire, so her physical fitness became Ning Rongrong's limitation. The medicinal power of the fairy grass is too strong, and the body cannot keep up with the growth rate of soul power and spirit. The strong mental and soul power, in turn, limits the performance of the body, which has become a new barrier that troubles me. I came to the ice and fire eyes not to mediate conflicts and resolve toxins, but to suppress the effect of the fairy grass. The weak body cannot withstand the increasingly powerful soul power and spirit. Ning Rongrong had no choice but to slow down her cultivation speed and suppress the fairy grass. The conflict between the grass jelly and the grass is preserved and they are not allowed to merge into one, so she extremely avoids lovesickness red. Physique is Ning Rongrong's limitation, like some kind of shackles. Han Tao's thoughts unfolded. Ning Rongrong is like this, but what about himself? Are you also limited by some kind of shackles? Yes, Ning Rongrong was limited to her body, and she was limited to her spirit. The distraction control method is advanced and the mental body is divided. Although the total amount of mental power has not changed, the mental power is no longer weakening all the time. It's like having a layer of negative blue buff. Once your spirit is exhausted, you cannot escape the fate of death. The shackles of luck. Han Tao sighed secretly. Even with a plan, the threat of luck is still underestimated. This is the deterrent of luck, which can always give you the most deadly attack in your weakest area, triggering soul shock. Han Tao fell into a certain death situation. I have no right to choose. I can only practice the advanced distraction control method and find that glimmer of hope. However, Ning Rongrong is different. She could make her own choice whether to eat these jelly herbs, so why did she choose such an unwise path? So Han Tao asked. Ning Rongrong, can I ask you, why do you eat so much fairy grass? Chapter 79 Physical Limitations. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. When a soul master eats multiple immortal herbs, the benefits will decrease, but the toxicity will accumulate. Ning Rongrong's pharmacology level is higher than Han Tao's, so she can't be unaware of these contents. At the beginning, Ning Rongrong was recalling, after a long time, that she lowered her head and gave the answer. I underestimated the immortal herbs and underestimated the snow swan kiss. The power of the snow swan kiss was stimulated, and it was spreading at an unimaginable speed. The poison barrier outside the Yin-Yang eye of ice and fire increased exponentially. It's like an open Pandora's box. I can't control its power at all, and it is still infiltrating into the Yin-Yang eye of ice and fire. All immortal herbs will face its invasion. Ning Rongrong shook her head, nervous, and still a little scared. In the original book, the snow swan kiss was the terrifying immortal herb that destroyed the entire killing city. What is the killing city? The territory of the gods, the domain of the previous generation of Shura god. It was still destroyed completely. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there is a second 7 absolutes green phosphorus flower in the Yin-Yang eye of ice and fire. Hearing this, Han Tao suddenly understood. Under the targeting of luck, he had no choice. Ning Rongrong also had no choice. Once the power of the snow swan kiss was combined with a certain fairy grass, it would become an existence that destroyed everything. Eating all the fairy grasses was Ning Rongrong's decision in a hurry. Sudden accidents will not give humans time to react. It is necessary to make a relatively correct decision in the shortest time. Why not put the fairy grass into the soul guide? Sudden doubts followed, but Han Tao did not ask, sitting aside, quietly waiting for Ning Rongrong's answer. The Yoxiang Chiluo fairy product and the Acacia Heartbroken Red have the ability to protect, but their ability to protect is quite limited. Ning Rongrong said. The Yoxiang Chiluo fairy product can only protect one fairy grass, which is the Chirong Tong Tian chrysanthemum. Acacia heartbroken red, I will put it in the porcelain bottle. Han Tao's expression froze. Ning Rongrong brought back more than just these magical herbs, 9-leaf purple Ganoderma, coxcomb sunflower, and strange chrysanthemum. What about the 9-leaf purple Ganoderma and coxcomb sunflower? How did they avoid the power of the snow swan kiss? Ning Rongrong spread her hands with an innocent expression. No. 9-leaf purple Ganoderma and coxcomb sunflower did not escape the erosion of the snow swan kiss. They look like magical herbs, but they are actually highly poisonous. Yan Wudi is a master of pharmacology. He can use what he has learned to deal with the toxicity in the coxcomb sunflower, so he exchanged with Ning Tian's strange chrysanthemum. Ning Fengji returned from the sunset forest and was poisoned by a very strong green phosphorus toxin. This is the green phosphorus toxin strengthened by the snow swan kiss. Even if Master Yang and Yi Junlan take action, it is difficult to resolve it. 9-leaf purple Ganoderma is highly toxic, and it is also a gift I prepared for my father. Highly toxic, can be restrained by toxins that are equally toxic and have opposite characteristics. This is what Yang Wudi said, and it is recorded in Han Tao's diary. Then what is my master's current condition? Han Tao hesitated. Ning Rongrong explained. I'm afraid it's not very good, but it should be no problem for him to survive. Han Tao did not continue to ask. His pharmacology was okay, but compared with Yang Wudi and Ning Rongrong, it seemed a little bit inferior. After learning the truth, Han Tao led the topic back to the right track. Are you facing the limitation of insufficient physical strength? Ning Rongrong said in a weak voice. There are many ways to solve the problem of physical strength, and whale glue is just one of them. Whale glue, do you know? Hearing Han Tao's words, her face flushed. Of course she knew. After all, there was Ning Tian in the sect. Whale glue can strengthen the physique, but I don't know if you can use it. Ning Rongrong shook her head and gave a clear answer. No, the nature of the fairy grass is too strong. I may not be able to absorb whale glue. And whale glue may not be effective for female soul masters. Han Tao did not hesitate and gave a second suggestion. In addition to whale glue, there is also Tiendo meditation method, which can strengthen the internal organs during the practice. Han Tao did not say anything about gravity pressure. Gravity pressure can strengthen the physique, but gravity pressure and whale glue are actually similar. Both will help Ning Rongrong to transform the medicinal power and improve her soul power and spirit. Tiendo meditation method. Ning Rongrong was a little confused. You don't know this? Didn't your father tell you? Compared with Ning Rongrong's doubts, Han Tao's doubts were even greater. Tiendo meditation method, a major meditation method that connects the 12 meridians, can strengthen the internal organs. Han Tao originally thought that he went to Tiendo Royal Academy to practice at the suggestion of Ning Fengji, but if Ning Rongrong herself did not know about Tiendo meditation method, then his previous judgment might be wrong. Han Tao was silent for a long time. Ning Fengji was not that powerful. He could not dissolve the poison of the green phosphorus poison barrier. No. Rongrong shook her head. Han Tao confirmed his guess. Han Tao took out a meridian outline and a pharmacology explanation from the package. He paused for a moment, then put the pharmacology book back into the package and handed the meridian outline to Ning Rongrong. This is the first part of the Tiendo meditation method, which helps soul masters understand the meridians. Meridian, pharmacology, and cultivation methods are the 3 stages of Tiendo meditation. You don't need to learn the pharmacology part. You have mastered it more professionally than them. Ning Rongrong smiled half a bit. She was a little happy to be praised. When Han Tao looked at her, she put away her smile again. Looking embarrassed, she took the document from Han Tao and read it carefully. 12 meridians, 8 extraordinary meridians. She has opened up all these meridians. This is the effect of Narcissa's jade muscles and bones. After trying, Han Tao summoned the blue silver eye to feel the microscopic effects of Ning Rongrong's practice of Tiendo meditation method. No. Han Tao interrupted hurriedly. Although the internal organs are part of the body, strengthening the internal organs will also transform the power of the fairy herbs, leading to the growth of soul power and spirit. Gravity compression is ineffective, whale glue cannot be eaten, and Tiendo meditation method cannot be used either. Han Tao sat down quietly. there are so many problems that bother me. Only by calming down and thinking can I get the answer. Actually, there is another possibility. Han Tao slowly uttered a few words. Ning Rongrong widened her eyes, staring at Han Tao's nose with a little curiosity. Soul Bone. Soul Bone will comprehensively enhance the attributes of Soul Masters. The three attributes of physique, soul power, and spirit will simultaneously gain fixed value growth. The same value improvement of three-dimensional attributes means that the proportion difference is reduced, which means that the pressure on the body is reduced. After hearing this, Ning Rongrong thought for a moment and understood it in an instant. Soul Bone is a very rare treasure. However, with the financial resources of my 7 treasures glazed tile sect, we can put together a set of 10,000-year soul bones. 10,000-year soul bones are very rare, but for the big forces, for the top 3 sects, it is not that rare. At this time, Han Tao revealed his purpose. It is said that the Wuhuan Hall has prepared 3 soul bones in preparation for this national elite soul master competition. Chapter 80 What is the ultimate? You are listening at NovelFull.audio. To improve his spiritual power, Han Tao listed the third solution, which is to fuse the wisdom skull of spiritual condensation. To obtain this skull, one must win the championship in the National Elite Soul Master competition. Han Tao cannot beat the entire team alone, so he needs to find teammates. Ning Rongrong is a good teammate, limited by her physique. Her growth rate has stagnated, and she needs the help of soul bones. Soul bones are a must for Han Tao, and also for Ning Rongrong, only. By aligning the interests of others with your own interests can you achieve your goals. This is what Yi Lingling taught him. You mean, you want me to participate in the Soul Master competition? Ning Rongrong tilted her head. Yes. I also need soul bones, and the wisdom skull of spiritual concentration is my goal. Han Tao told the truth, there is nothing to hide. It is less likely to cause conflicts of interest if you say it in advance, and with Ning Rongrong's state, it is impossible for her to covet the skull with spiritual power. But, I'm just a support-type soul master, I can't beat the spirit hall. She put her hands in her pockets, her thumbs intertwined, her cheeks slightly flushed. The strongest of the golden generation of the spirit hall has been promoted to Soul King, and the trio also has a martial soul fusion skill, and the strength will change qualitatively after the martial soul fusion. Han Tao was speechless when he heard it. What is Ning Rongrong thinking? Does she want to challenge the spirit hall team alone? After a long time, Han Tao finally understood. Ning Rongrong's impression of herself is still stuck before she came to the Yin-Yang eyes of ice and fire. At the beginning, she was just a blue silver grass soul master of less than 30 levels, and she couldn't even beat a combat soul master of more than 10 levels. But what about now? Han Tao has grown into a 42nd level soul master, and his physique and soul power data are close to the Soul King of the top martial soul, and equipped with a soul ring of nearly 50,000 years. The concentrated green phosphorus toxin can kill the Soul Emperor, although the combat experience is lacking. So, Han Tao summoned his blue silver grass martial soul. Yellow, white, purple, black. 4 colors of soul rings appeared on the martial soul, especially the 4th soul ring, which was dark and deep, giving people a strong sense of oppression. Soul Sect, you broke through the Soul Sect. Ning Rongrong covered her lips and said in disbelief. Han Tao smiled faintly, not proud of it. Just Soul Sect, and, didn't you break through to Soul King? Based on the frequency of soul power generated by Ning Rongrong, he could roughly sense Ning Rongrong's level 54 Soul King. After eating so many immortal herbs, Han Tao was not surprised to break through to this level, but then again, Ning Rongrong's progress was slow. If there were no physical limitations, it would be very likely that she would break through to Soul Emperor. Ning Rongrong smiled lightly. Then, Han Tao took out a few blue silver grasses from the package, placed them around the Yin-Yang eye of ice and fire, covered with soil, and then poured some nutrient solution. Blue Silver Emperor. Forget it, plant it here too. Observing the growth of Blue Silver Emperor may help the evolution of one's own blue silver grass. These blue silver grasses will evolve at a speed of thousands of times under the influence of the natural magnetic field. Perhaps it only takes 1 year for these blue silver grasses to transform into 1,000-year blue silver grasses. There are many blue-silver grasses on Douluo continent, everywhere, countless, but there are not many 100-year blue-silver grasses and 1,000-year blue-silver grasses, and there are even fewer 10,000-year and 100,000-year blue-silver grasses. Hey, this blue-silver grass is going in the wrong direction. Suddenly, Ning Rongrong's little head came up and said, she was referring to the 4 poison blue-silver grasses, the wrong route discovered by Han Tao. Yes, it is wrong. But, you clearly know that it is a wrong route. Why do you use your martial soul to adopt it? Ning Rongrong became even more curious. Perhaps from a more macro perspective, it is the wrong route, but from a narrow perspective, it is the right path. Choosing the 4 poison blue-silver grass can make my martial soul evolve and advance. The 4 poison blue-silver grass and blood sandalwood flower evolution routes increased Han Tao's growth base by 0.1, it seems small, but the difference is huge. 0.6 is an intermediate martial soul, 0.7 is an advanced martial soul, and 0.8 is a top martial soul, 0.9 is the ultimate fairy grass, and 1.0 is a god-level martial soul, one step to another level. Every 0.1 improvement in the later period is a qualitative change. Han Tao handed Ning Rongrong the book Special Martial Soul. Inheritance Soul Skills given by Ning Fengji. You are also a special martial soul, you should have read this book. Ning Rongrong nodded, she took the book and flipped through it casually until she stopped at the page of blue-silver grass. What do you think about the poison attribute line of blue-silver grass? Ning Rongrong is good at pharmacology. Although Han Tao doesn't think she can surpass Yang Wudi, he still wants to hear her opinion. Ning Rongrong frowned and waved her hand. Wait. Han Tao never interrupted her thinking, but continued to plant blue-silver grass. Now, every time you plant a blue-silver grass, you will have one more experimental material in a year. After a long time, Ning Rongrong finally spoke. This book may have been deleted and revised. Deleted and revised? Han Tao looked a little confused. Yes, the choice of the first 3 soul rings is correct, but starting from the 4th soul ring, it is wrong. The green phosphorus flower soul ring should be the 7th, 8th or 9th soul ring, not the 4th soul ring. The 7 absolute green phosphorus is the ultimate fairy grass. What Yang Wudi said is correct. It cannot be fused with any poison. Ning Rongrong's little face was a little arrogant, and she pointed to the Yin-Yang eyes of ice and fire. Did you see it? Han Tao followed her finger and looked at the Yin-Yang eyes of ice and fire. It was still the same spring water, and it was still the same 2 poisonous fairy grasses, the 8-angled mysterious ice grass and the fiery apricot. Han Tao touched his head, not knowing why. Yin-Yang eyes of ice and fire, nothing special. Ning Rongrong closed the book, took out a branch, and pointed it at the center of the spring. The spring water generated by ice and fire corroded the branch completely, aroused a little wave, and gradually spread outward. The natural terrain here is the best interpretation of the blue-silver grass poison attribute line, which is integrated to the extreme. The inner layer is the fusion of the extreme ice and the extreme fire, and the outer layer is the endless green phosphorus poison. This evolutionary line is very powerful, much more powerful than you think. Her expression was a little fanatical, as if she inherited Yang Wudi's madness. She squatted down next to Han Tao, broke off a blue-silver grass, and said, Blue-silver grass occupies the dimension of life. Higanbana occupies the dimension of death. Life and death constitute the intersection of the 2 yin and yang, just like the ecology of the intersection of ice and fire in the yin-yang eye of ice and fire. The extreme 7 absolute green phosphorus toxins, as the outer circle, wrap the ecology of the yin-yang eye of ice and fire. The 3 extreme forces coexist harmoniously, forming a unique ecological structure. As the ultimate presentation of the martial soul, it is enough to prove the wisdom of the developer, and it is also enough to detect his ambition. The ultimate martial soul cannot satisfy his appetite. He wants to rely on the innateness of the blue-silver grass to challenge the strongest god-level martial soul. So, how do we achieve the poison attribute route?